I came across a post, "How do you break up with a long-term girlfriend without getting cursed out?" Underneath, a bunch of people shared their opinions. One comment stood out. It suggested asking about the bride price, letting the girl bring it up first, and then, well, the rest doesn't need explaining, right? Coincidentally, a few minutes later, my boyfriend texted me. "Hey babe, just curious. If we got married, how much would your family ask for as a bride price?" That evening, Jake, my boyfriend, and I had plans to celebrate our 5-year anniversary with seafood. Halfway through dinner, he brought it up again. "Hey, about what I asked earlier, how much would your family want? Would they charge my family a fortune?" I froze. "What do you mean by charge a fortune?" "Jake, what exactly are you implying?" Jake replied, "Come on, you know how it works back home. No one gets married without a bride price. You know that." He got more serious. "You know my family's situation. I've only been working for 2 years. I haven't saved up much. My younger brother is also getting married soon, and he needs a house. My parents already pooled their savings to buy him one. If your family demands too much, I honestly won't be able to afford it." I immediately got upset. "So your brother gets a house when he gets married, and what do I get? You figure out how to handle that $18,000 yourself." Later that afternoon, after my meeting, I returned to my desk and saw another message from Jake, sent just minutes earlier. "Babe, quick question again, if we got married, how much would your family expect for the bride price?" This time, I only saw 2 words, "get married." My heart pounded. Jake and I had known each other for 10 years, been together for 5, and this was the first time he had ever said those words. Excited, I shared the text with my coworker, Rachel. "Do you think he's going to propose soon?" She was more grounded. "If he's going to propose, wouldn't he keep it a surprise? Asking about bride price sounds more like testing the waters to me." Rachel had a point. I didn't want to end up like those couples who fall apart the moment they start talking about marriage, mostly because of money. I always believed Jake and I had a solid relationship, unshakable even. Besides, we were from the same hometown, our families had known each other for years. Everyone just assumed we'd get married one day. "It won't get that serious, right?" I asked. Rachel warned me. "It's a big deal. If his family isn't well off and you ask for too much, it might scare him away. But if you ask for too little, your parents might not agree. So what's considered too much and what's too little?" She just shrugged. It was hard to say for sure, so Rachel suggested, "Why don't you ask around and see what others think?" So I started browsing a few forums to read up on bride price traditions. Coincidentally, I stumbled upon a trending post titled, "How do you break up with a long-term girlfriend without getting cursed out?" The author's username was something like "No Way Out Dad." He said he'd been dating his girlfriend for years, but lately he felt more and more incompatible with her. She was a big spender, completely clueless about saving money. Meanwhile, he was still in the early stages of building his own startup and needed to save up for a house. He worried that the longer they stayed together, the more tension would build. So he wanted to break up while they were still young, peacefully. But he didn't know how to justify it. They had already met each other's parents, and he was afraid of being trashed by her family if he initiated a breakup. The post blew up. Hundreds of comments poured in. One person replied, "Any woman who spends like that isn't wife material. It's like pouring money into a black hole. And this guy isn't even rich, he should find a sweet, frugal girl instead. They've dated for years, didn't he notice her spending habits earlier?" The original poster replied, "Back in college, it wasn't obvious. She was using allowance money from her parents. But after she started working and spending her own paycheck, it's been out of control. Packages arrive every day, clothes, cosmetics, random stuff. I honestly don't understand why women love shopping so much. Her salary never lasts the month. Oh, and she has a younger brother too. Even back in school, she sent him money. Now that she's working, she still sends him cash regularly. That reply sparked even more support. If she's got a younger brother, don't marry her. That's a never-ending pit. No matter how much you make, it'll never be enough for her to support him too. You think she'll be heartbroken after so many years? That's why you need a strategy like this. Another commenter chimed in. Just be honest. Tell her how you feel. If she agrees to change, keep an eye on things for a while. She has to promise her income goes only to your future family. If she won't compromise, then end it clean. No dragging it out. But someone else pointed out. You all missed the key part, both families have already met. If he doesn't come up with a solid reason, her parents and relatives are going to tear him apart. Especially in small towns, rumors spread fast, and it gets ugly real quick. The original poster liked that comment. As I kept scrolling, I saw a reply that was blowing up with likes. This isn't that hard. Just ask her how much her family wants for a bride price. A girl who spends like that? No way it'll be cheap. After that, well, you know what to do. A chill ran down my spine. I didn't want to assume the worst about Jake. After all, I wasn't the kind of girlfriend that guy was talking about. Yes, I had a younger brother too. But I would never be the type of sister who's obsessed with financially supporting him like those people were saying. There's less than a 2-year age gap between my younger brother and me. Our parents have always treated us equally, if anything, they favored me more. Last year, our old family home was torn down for redevelopment, and we were compensated with 2 houses. My parents said one day, one would go to me and the other to my brother. They insisted they would never show favoritism. Since I started working, I've only bought him a couple of outfits and 2 pairs of shoes. Just little things, out of love. I've always seen that as perfectly normal between siblings. As for my other expenses, I make $7,000 a month and save over $2,000 regularly. And to be honest, most of the rest goes to my boyfriend. I know he's more frugal than I am, he lives in the staff dorms at work. But he often crashes at my apartment. He used to complain it was too small, so I upgraded from the smaller bedroom to the master suite. The rent went up significantly. Every holiday or anniversary, the gifts I gave him were always worth several times more than what he gave me. But I didn't mind. I never thought he was careless. Maybe this whole thing is just a coincidence. Still, what Rachel said kept echoing in my mind. Jake has a younger brother too. Late last year, their parents bought the brother a house back in their hometown. Probably during a financially tight period. So what is a reasonable bride price? I honestly don't know. After all, this is something between 2 families. By the time the workday ended, I still hadn't replied to his question. That evening, Jake and I went out for an upscale seafood dinner to celebrate 5 years together. Halfway through the meal, he brought it up again. Hey, you still haven't answered me. How much do you think your family would ask for mine for the bride price? I stiffened. What did you just say? Why are you making it sound like my family is demanding something from yours? Jake, what do you mean by that? My appetite vanished. He laughed. Relax. I was just kidding. You're always so quick-tempered, you really need to work on that. He peeled a jumbo shrimp and placed it on my plate, but I had no desire to eat it. I didn't even touch my chopsticks. He asked again. So just tell me, how much do you think your family would want? Fine. If he wanted to go there, I wouldn't hold back. Jake, you know that in our hometown, every marriage involves a bride price, right? He nodded, finally sounding serious. Yeah, but you also know my situation. I've only been working for 2 years. I haven't saved much. My younger brother is about to get married. He needs a house. All the money my parents had went into buying one for him. If your family expects a lot, I just can't afford it. That was it, I lost my temper. So your brother gets a house just for getting married, but what about you? Aren't we different? His marriage was arranged through a matchmaker, but you and I have been in love for years. Shouldn't that count for something? Look at our friends. Some of them are already married. Remember Michael from the class next door? He married his high school sweetheart. There wasn't any bride price involved at all. I knew Michael rushed into marriage back in high school. He and his girlfriend hadn't even graduated yet. She got pregnant, so they married in a hurry. It was impulsive then, but they're doing fine now. You know why Michael rushed that wedding, right? I asked. Jake, is it that you don't want to give a bride price? His expression changed instantly. No, it's not like that. I was just asking out of curiosity. Come on, he added, there's no need to keep things vague. Just give me a number. I was already irritated, so I deliberately gave him a high one. $28,800. Not a penny less. Jake's eyes widened. Are you serious? Why don't you just rob me instead? He snapped. You said that out loud with a straight face? I slammed my hand on the table. Why should I be ashamed? I've loved you for 5 years, are you saying I'm not worth a proper bride price? Jake shot up from his chair. Don't think I don't see through you, he said. You want to take my money and hand it over to your brother, don't you? You think I'm some idiot you can milk for cash? No way. He grabbed his bag and walked out of the restaurant. So in the end, I had to pay for that upscale seafood dinner myself, $75 per person. On the way home, the more I thought about it, the angrier I got. He was the one who had chased me since high school, through college. And now he had the nerve to say I was using him? To claim my family was just trying to squeeze money from his? I couldn't hold it in. I grabbed my phone, ready to call and let him have it. But no matter how many times I called, he didn't pick up. I texted him on WhatsApp. A red exclamation mark appeared. He had blocked me. It felt like a weight on my chest, too heavy to swallow, too painful to let go. I needed to vent to someone, anyone. Then I noticed a package sitting at my front door. I hadn't ordered anything recently. What the heck is this? I brought it inside and opened it. Inside was a luxury bottle of perfume, easily over 4 figures. There was also a small card. Hope you like it. Jake. And then it hit me, just a few days ago, he mentioned he was preparing a 5-year anniversary gift for me. Could this be it? It was the first time he'd ever given me something so expensive. More than half my anger melted away in an instant. Maybe I'd let that forum post cloud my judgment. I had no real proof that it was written by Jake. And I had lost my temper at dinner. I hadn't considered how he felt. Throwing out a random $28,800 demand was extreme. I started to reflect. We'd known each other for so many years. I shouldn't have used the bride price as a weapon. We both had stable jobs. We could absolutely build a future together, right here in New York. Just then, my phone rang. It was Jake. He sounded flustered. Kayla, did you get a package today? Yeah, I replied. It was from me. Don't open it. I picked it up on behalf of a client. I'll call a courier to come retrieve it. Before I could say anything, Jake had already hung up. The distance between my place and his company dorm is over 12 miles, yet he booked same-day express shipping? That was unusually generous of him. Must have been a really important client. Right after that, I got a notification he'd transferred money to me to cover the dinner. Not a word of explanation. Suddenly, I felt a strange emptiness. A kind of quiet anxiety I couldn't shake. That night, I tossed and turned, unable to sleep. I opened that forum thread again. The original poster had updated it. I tried asking her directly, he wrote. The moment she opened her mouth, she asked for nearly $28,000 for the bride price. Haha. All those years together, and in the end, she's no different than a matchmaking setup. She wants to use my hard-earned money to support her own family. We both work in New York City. Everyone knows how insane the housing market is here. I'll have to buy a place eventually, and my parents will need to pitch in. That's basically their life savings. If my future partner can't contribute anything, and instead expects to drain me for her own family, how am I supposed to build a life with someone like that? Am I supposed to carry everything on my own? Honestly, I didn't even want to date her at first. She chased me relentlessly. All through high school and college, I tried to distance myself, but I've always been too soft-hearted. I figured I had to love someone, and she was familiar, so I gave in. And now look where that got me. Women always talk about independence. This is what you call independent? Then don't expect men to buy you a house. The comments underneath were even worse. Everyone was trashing the girl. She should be grateful he's even explaining himself. With girls like this, the sooner you cut them off, the better. Modern-day princesses, touch one and you're done. Just let us decent men live in peace. He's not losing anything by walking away. At least when they started dating, she was still a virgin, right? Huh. Good luck finding another virgin in college these days. Ditch her and marry a local NYC girl, at least you won't have to stress over buying a house. Reading all of this, I realized how eerily similar this girl in the story was to me. I felt furious on her behalf. I couldn't hold back anymore. I jumped into the comments section to fight back against those toxic men. You were together for years and broke up over the bride price? Seriously? You keep bringing up your parents. What, have you worked all these years and still saved nothing? At least admit you're broke and stingy instead of blaming her. And stop acting like she begged you to date her. What are you, some kind of Chris Hemsworth? If you're so brave, post your real photo. Let's see how desirable you really are. That girl spent her whole youth with you, gave you her best years, and now you trample on all of it with money? You don't deserve her. Some others had joined in too, criticizing the guy. Yeah, you painted yourself as this noble victim and made the girl look like she has no redeeming qualities. Real mature. In the end, wasn't he just looking for an excuse to dump her? That's what I thought. He's just a coward. Probably already has someone else lined up. That's why he's so desperate to end things with the girlfriend he's been with for years. When I read that line, my heart skipped a beat. But then I shook my head. Jake wasn't that kind of person. Back then, he went through hell and high water to win me over. There's no way he'd just toss me aside for someone new. Besides, there was no unsolvable issue between us. Maybe this really was all just a coincidence. He'd been traveling for work a lot lately, working overtime nonstop. He must be exhausted. And I, instead of being understanding, had pressured him about a huge bride price. Thinking back, maybe I was wrong too. I couldn't sleep the entire night. The next morning, the dark circles under my eyes were impossible to hide. Rachel noticed. Up all night over a guy? I gave her a sheepish nod. You two argued? Let me guess, about the bride price? Yeah, I admitted. He used a word that really hurt me. He said my family was trying to dig gold from his. I was so mad I just blurted out, $28,800. Non-negotiable. And then we split up on bad terms. I know his family just bought a house for his brother to get married. He probably paid a lot too. He really might not have much left. Rachel said gently. Then you guys need to talk, not argue when you're both heated. You've been together for so many years, it's not worth letting something like this drive a wedge between you. Her words gave me courage. I nodded firmly. After finishing up some overtime, I headed to his dorm. As I approached the door, I heard voices from inside. The door didn't have good soundproofing. I could hear everything, loud and clear. I've liked you for so long. Didn't you notice? When will you finally make us official? Or are you just messing with me? It was Jake's voice. He was confessing to someone else. Then a girl responded. Out of everyone who's pursued me, you've been the most persistent. It's been 6 months. Do you really like me that much? Of course, he said. I'm crazy about you. Rage surged through my body. I jammed my key into the lock and burst inside. The moment Jake saw me, he froze. Kayla? What are you doing here? The girl, her name was Lauren, looked me up and down and asked. And you are? I glared at her. I'm his girlfriend. Who the hell are you? And why are you here? Lauren's eyes darted from me to Jake, her face full of disbelief. You have a girlfriend? And you still tried to get with me? You scumbag. She grabbed whatever was in her hand and hurled it at Jake before storming out. Jake pointed at me. If you ruin this for me, I swear I won't let it go. Then he ran after the other girl. I looked around the room. They had just finished hot pot, leftovers were scattered across the table. I remembered clearly how Jake once told me he hated the smell of strong food lingering in the dorm. He had never let me eat there, not even once. But now, for another girl, he was willing to abandon that so-called principle without hesitation. The item that girl had thrown earlier, it was the same luxury perfume bottle I saw by the door yesterday. The box was still lying in pieces on the floor. So that expensive gift wasn't for me after all. It was from Jake to her. We'd been together for 5 years, and he had never given me a proper gift. Yet for someone new, he splurged on a designer present right from the start. TCH. So it was true, he was the guy from that post. He had someone else. And to think, I felt bad for him, blamed myself. Fuming, I flipped the whole dining table in rage. His phone, which he'd left behind, began ringing. I picked it up. A notification flashed across the screen, from some forum. The password hadn't changed, so I opened it. The username, No Way Out Dad. And the very first post? The one I had read. Thunder out of a clear sky. So that story, he was the one who wrote it. He really did use the bride price as a trap, to test me, to look for an excuse to break up. Worse yet, he twisted the truth and smeared me like I was nothing. It was him, not me, who went all out for his younger brother. And yet he flipped the narrative to make it seem like I was the greedy one. Blinded by rage, I started smashing everything I could in his room. I ripped every piece of clothing I'd ever gifted him out of the closet and stomped on them, grinding them into the floor. When I was done, I stormed out. Tears streamed down my face as I walked through the dorm courtyard. Then I heard voices coming from under a tree nearby. It was Jake. He was holding Lauren's hand, apologizing. I saw him gripping her wrist, refusing to let go. Half kneeling on the ground, his voice soft, lowered to its lowest register. She really is my ex, he said. We broke up a long time ago. It's her who keeps clinging to me and won't move on. Lauren, you have to believe me. Everyone at the company knows how I feel about you. I promise, she'll never appear in front of us again. I'll take care of everything. Just, believe in me one more time, okay? I love you so much, don't sentence me like this. Please? It was almost moving. Honestly, I nearly shed a tear for him myself. Back then, Jake chased after me with the same words. Those tear-filled eyes that made it impossible to say no. I've had feelings for you for years, didn't you notice? I applied to the same college just for you, even picked a major I hated, just so we could be together. I swear, I'll never love anyone else but you. If you don't say yes, I'll shave my head and disappear behind bars. That kind of love, now he was giving it to someone else. I stepped up behind them and said coldly, Jake, how can you smear the name of someone who's known you for 10 years and loved you for 5? Don't you feel any guilt at all? He jolted and turned around. Kayla, why are you still here? I thought I made it clear, we're not right for each other. Lauren stood between us, saying nothing. It was like she was watching a live soap opera. I wiped away my tears and took out my phone. Yesterday, you asked me how much bride price my family would want if we got married. And today, you're confessing to another girl? Wow, Jake. I didn't think your love came so cheap. Lauren looked shocked. Wait, you two were already discussing marriage? Jake panicked. No, Lauren, don't listen to her. I'd never marry someone like her. Those words stabbed straight through my chest. I closed my eyes and swallowed the pain. It felt like the man who once loved me no longer existed. Lauren didn't even look at him, she looked straight at me. You two were together for 10 years, 5 of those in love? Then she turned to Jake. Don't say another word. I want to hear her side. Jake opened his mouth but froze under Lauren's dagger-like stare. Then he turned back to me, eyes cold. Let me make this clear one last time, we've been over for a long while now. I never did anything wrong to you. So stop slandering me. We ended things peacefully. Don't cling to me anymore. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Tears rolled down my face, and then I laughed. Fine then. You and Lauren may not grow old together, but your kids definitely won't be born deaf. I turned to leave. But the anger boiled over again. I spun back around and said to Lauren. Oh, one more thing, you might want to watch your wallet. This guy's cheap. Doesn't even want to pay a proper bride price. If you're not careful, you'll end up paying to marry him. And by the way, what you just witnessed. That was the first and only time he's ever actually said the words "we're done" to me. You almost became the other woman without even knowing it. I could see it in Jake's eyes. He really cared about her. He was terrified of losing her. I didn't know what they had, but I knew one thing for sure. Jake and I were really over. I didn't want to hear another cruel word from him ever again. I turned and walked away, for good. After that day, I no longer cared who Jake ended up with, or what happened to him. As far as I was concerned, those 5 years of my youth, I might as well have thrown them to the dogs. By the time I caught a ride back to my apartment, it was already 11 p.m. I hadn't eaten anything all day except for a glass of milk in the morning. Now I was battling stomach cramps from both hunger and my period. I still remember when Jake and I first started dating. Once, we went to see a movie, and I had such bad cramps I could barely sit upright. He placed his hand gently over my lower abdomen, his palm warm even through my clothes. That sensation. I still remember it clearly. From that day on, he always remembered my cycle. Every month, he'd prepare ginger tea with brown sugar, remind me not to eat cold food, and tell me to stay warm. That's why I once believed, without a doubt, that he was the one I'd spend the rest of my life with. But at some point, that tenderness faded. He started saying just one sentence. Drink some hot water. And that was it. I was too slow to see the change. Too blind to recognize it early. That night, the pain kept me up. I finally got up to find some painkillers. That's when I saw an unread message on my phone. A friend request from a stranger. The note said her name was Lauren. She wanted to ask me about my relationship with Jake. At first, I didn't want to reply. But she sent the request again and again. I remembered how she stopped Jake from badmouthing me that day, and I realized. Maybe she had been deceived too. So I accepted. The moment we connected, she messaged. I'm so sorry. I had no idea he had a girlfriend. If I had known, I never would have let him pursue me for so long. Turns out Jake really was a lying bastard, playing both sides. I sent her everything. All the memories Jake and I had built over the years. Photos, videos, our milestones. I had been turned into the other woman. It was the most humiliating moment of my life. Lauren said. Don't worry. I'll make him pay for both of us. I'll get justice. I asked her. Who are you to him? He seemed really afraid of losing you. She replied. I work for a partner company of his. My dad is the CEO on our side. I'm originally from New York City. Now I finally get it. He didn't fall for me, he had a motive. 2 weeks later, I came home from work. Only to find Jake standing at my door. Why are you here? I asked. Kayla, please. I know I messed up. Can't you forgive me just once? I looked at him, stunned. He reached out to touch my face. You've lost weight. What's that got to do with you? I snapped. You're not welcome here. Leave. He grabbed the door handle, blocking me from going inside. Are you really going to throw away everything we had? I frowned. You're the one who threw it all away first. And now you're flipping it back on me? He tried to defend himself. You were the one who asked me for $28,800 as a bride price. Jake snapped. You knew my family's financial situation and still made it hard on me. I've loved you for years, chased after you for even longer, we've been together for 5 years. Are you saying none of that is worth that money? Did you have to push me like that? I was stunned. Unbelievable. He actually had the nerve to flip the blame onto me. Too furious to speak, I shoved him away. Get out. Or I'll call the cops. I rented the master bedroom in a 3-bedroom apartment. Just then, my 2 housemates came home. They saw me and Jake arguing at the door. My female roommate asked, Kayla, why are you still outside? Fighting with your boyfriend? Our quiet male roommate glanced at Jake and muttered. Lovers quarrel, huh? You fight on the bed, then make up on the bed. Dude, don't you know the basics? Then he even snapped his fingers like he was giving Jake a cue. Jake took that as encouragement and, as soon as the door opened, pushed me inside the apartment. I lost it. Touch me one more time and I will call the police. I whipped out my phone and started dialing. Jake panicked. Hey, come on now, don't be so dramatic. It's nothing serious, you're overreacting. Fine. I'll go. Happy now? But just before leaving, he mumbled. With your temper, who else could even stand to be with you? The male roommate gave me a few long glances. I glared. What are you staring at? TSK. You're really that hot-headed, huh? You should have listened to your boyfriend, maybe work on that attitude of yours. No one's gonna want to marry someone like that. What does this have to do with you? I snapped. He scoffed, slammed his door shut. I went to my room, locked the door, collapsed face down on the bed, and cried. Cried until there were no tears left. After that, I opened my laptop and started searching for a new place. I didn't want to spend another single night in this apartment. During the May 1st holiday, I went home to visit my family. My parents immediately noticed the weight loss. Something wrong, Kayla? You and Jake, are you two okay? Until then, I hadn't told them about our breakup. I'd been planning to explain everything clearly when I got home for the holidays. But they beat me to it. So I told them everything. How Jake had betrayed me. I couldn't hold it in. I broke down in tears. My younger brother jumped off the couch in a rage. I'm going to his place. He thinks he can mess with my sister? He's done. I quickly pulled him back. Where are you going? To wait for him at his house. He's got a death wish if he thinks he can get away with this. I had to beg my parents to stop him. I don't want anything to do with Jake anymore. Just let it end here. Time will bury it all eventually. But we hadn't even finished our meal when Jake showed up. With his parents. Jake and his parents showed up at my house, hands full of gifts. They said they were here to discuss marriage. My younger brother was furious, he nearly tossed all the gifts out the door. My sister already broke up with this guy. Take all this stuff and get out of our house. But my parents, being people who valued appearances, quickly pulled my brother into a side room. "Calm down. No yelling. Whatever it is, we'll talk about it properly," they told him. Just then, Jake's mom grabbed my hand, right there in front of everyone, and scolded Jake mercilessly. "This boy is unbelievable. How dare he act like that? If it weren't for Kayla tutoring him back in high school, he never would have gotten into college in New York. He told me he was scared because she demanded $28,800 for the bride price and refused to negotiate. But really, it's our fault. We didn't raise him strong enough. That's why he turned out like this." She turned to me again. "Kayla, we've known your family for years. A marriage isn't just his decision, it's between two families. No matter how much the bride price is, you're worth it. Even if we can't afford it now, we'll borrow the money if we have to." Until then, I had never told my parents anything about the bride price. So they looked visibly confused. My mom asked, "Kayla, did Jake bring up the bride price with you?" "Yes, he did," I said quietly, handing them my phone to show them the messages. But the bride price was just an excuse. He was already planning to leave me. Jake stood behind his parents and jumped in. "That's not true. It was about the bride price. Most couples we know from our class, people who've also dated for years, only asked for like $1,000 or $2,000. When Kayla asked for that much, I panicked. And my mom just had major surgery. I didn't want to stress her out more, so I didn't tell her." His mom's eyes turned red. She held my hand tightly, refusing to let go. "He's a good son. He's just scared. Please don't hold it against him. During this holiday, I asked him why he didn't bring you home to visit, and that's when he finally told me everything." The moment we heard, his father and I came straight over. Marriage should be something discussed between both families. We just thought maybe you weren't ready yet, so we waited. It's such a small misunderstanding, it shouldn't have gotten this out of hand. Let's just talk it through. My parents stayed stern-faced. Then my dad asked directly. "Kayla says Jake is seeing someone else. Is that true?" Jake's father immediately raised his voice. "No way. My son would never do that." But my dad stayed firm. Then let Jake answer for himself. Jake quickly denied it. "No, sir. No, ma'am. That's not true." Kayla must have misunderstood. That client is from a major partner company. I couldn't afford to offend her, that's why I was being extra polite. That's all. I didn't know what her intentions were, Jake said, referring to Lauren. Maybe she just made it look like something happened right when Kayla showed up. That's why she misunderstood. But Mr. and Mrs. Brooks, please believe me, even if it costs me my job, I'll never leave Kayla for anyone else. I looked at his fake, pleading face and felt sick to my stomach. Jake, I said coldly, do you swear that's true? He immediately raised 3 fingers. I swear. What's there to be afraid of? I've always been honest, lived clean, and never wronged you. Of course I swear. I looked him dead in the eyes. Then swear this on the rest of your life, if a single word you just said is a lie, may you end up with nothing, no career, no money, and no love. Jake's mother instantly let go of my hand and gave me a shove. Kayla, don't you think you're going too far? Who forces people to make oaths like that? I nearly lost my balance, but thankfully my dad caught me in time. His face hardened. That's enough. Everyone, please leave. This marriage is off. These two aren't meant for each other. Let's not drag it out. Jake's mom raised her voice. Mr. Brooks, we came here with sincerity. Is this how your family treats guests? My dad remained calm. Look at my daughter. Can't you see how much weight she's lost? Or do you think we're blind? Jake's mom forced a laugh, trying to ease the tension. Come on, it's just a misunderstanding between 2 kids. Honestly, Jake hasn't been doing much better either. He even quit his job because of Kayla. And still, we were the ones to come here and make things right. Isn't that proof enough that we're serious? Aren't we all doing this for the sake of the kids? Just then, my younger brother stormed out of his room. He walked right up to Jake and said, "You didn't hear me the first time? I said get out. Take your crap and leave our house." He then grabbed all the gift bags they brought, threw the front door open, and tossed everything out onto the street. Jake's mom screamed, grabbing her head and pretending to faint. Jake rushed to her side. "Mom, are you okay?" She started crying and yelling. "See, Jake? This is what they think of you. They look down on you just because we don't have money. 5 years of dating and it still amounts to nothing." By now, curious neighbors had gathered, whispering among themselves. I couldn't hold it in anymore. I stepped outside, opened my phone, and started reading aloud the original forum post Jake had written. As soon as the neighbors heard it, their expressions changed. Murmurs turned to judgment. So that's what happened? He wanted to dump her and came up with a whole scheme? Now he regrets it and brings his parents to beg her back. Wow, this family is shady as hell. Jake's mom suddenly shot up and yelled, "Lies. It's all lies. This gold-digging girl moved to the city, found someone richer, and now she wants to throw my son away. She demanded a bride price of $28,800 just to scare my son off. She knew how much he loved her. My husband and I were even willing to go into debt just to help him marry her, and now she turns around and blames everything on him." My brother clenched his fists, about to lunge forward. I asked, "Jake, are you brave enough to open that account and show everyone right now?" "Sure," he replied, trying to stay cool, pulling out his phone while watching my expression. But when he saw I wasn't backing down at all, he quickly added, "Actually, I don't have an account on that platform. Wouldn't even meet my eyes." What a coward. "Jake, you're pathetic." The neighbors had gathered around, murmuring, "Wait a minute, didn't he just say it wasn't him who wrote the post? So open the app and prove it." "Or what, you scared?" "Yeah, be a man, own what you did," someone chimed in. I glanced toward the woman who said that, Mrs. Zhang from across the street, and gave her a silent thumbs up to thank her. Jake's mom, now visibly angry, grabbed the phone from his hand. "Fine, we'll open it. We're not afraid of the truth. Our family has nothing to hide." "Kayla," she asked, "what's the app called?" "Jihu," I replied, pointing at the icon. Before Jake could snatch the phone back, his father had already opened the app. I helped him navigate to the pinned post. The exact one I'd read. The post Jake swore wasn't his. Jake's dad froze on the spot. You wrote this garbage? You absolute disgrace." Jake's mom tried to step in, but he cut her off. "This is all your fault for spoiling him rotten. How the hell did our family raise a kid like this? I've never been so ashamed in my life." He yanked his arm away from his wife and stormed out, leaving her and Jake behind. His mother turned around, glaring at me like she wanted to burn a hole through my skull. "Humph, don't even think about marrying into our family. You're not welcome." Then she straightened her spine and walked off after her husband. "Dream on," my brother yelled, stepping in. "Even if you get down on your knees and beg my sister, you're never setting foot in this house again." But Jake still wouldn't leave. He looked at me with some strange, unreadable expression. "Kayla, do you really want to cut things off like this? I lost my job because of you. And now you're treating me like this?" Even now, he was still trying to twist the blame. I couldn't take it anymore. So I laid the truth bare. "Lauren is your client, right? And not just any client, she's the daughter of a senior executive at the partner company. Not many people know that. But I do." He froze, caught off guard. "She told me everything. Said she almost became the other woman without even knowing it. She said it was the most humiliating moment of her life. You thought you could manipulate her to win over the A side of the deal. But she exposed everything. You didn't get fired because of me. You got yourself fired. And with the power her family holds in this industry? You're done, Jake. Don't bother applying anywhere, no one's going to touch your resume. That's why you came crawling back to me, isn't it? Jake stood there, mouth open, speechless. Surprised, huh? I said calmly. I know everything now, Jake. I used to dream of a beautiful future with you, but you were the one who destroyed it. And let me be crystal clear. If you ever show up at my house again, I won't hesitate to call the police. Jake turned and walked away, shoulders slumped. The neighbors erupted in applause. That's right, Kayla. Don't worry, there are tons of decent guys out there. All better than that loser. Come by my place later, I'll introduce you to a few. You're so smart and capable, what are you afraid of? You'll find someone better in no time. Oh, and my nephew works at a publicly traded company in Beijing. He's got a house, a car, and he's just a few years older than you. Would you be interested? My cousin's son's single too, another chimed in. My dad waved his hand dismissively as everyone tried to play matchmaker. I just stood there in a daze. All this time, I really believed that Jake and I had something solid. Then I turned and saw my mom. She hadn't said a word through the whole thing. But now her face was soaked with tears. My sweet girl, she cried softly. You've suffered so much. I shook my head and whispered. It's okay, Mom. It's all in the past now. A year later, Auntie Chu, the neighborhood gossip queen, passed along some news. You know the eldest son from the Cole family? Yeah, the one who used to date little Kayla? He couldn't get a job in any of the big cities, so he drifted south. Instead of working properly, he kept chasing get-rich-quick schemes. Ended up going into business with some older woman, lost everything. Now he's hiding out in Southeast Asia to dodge debts. And his younger brother? He was already engaged. But after all that mess, the girl's family backed out. Said they didn't want to be tied to a disaster like that. He used to seem so stable, didn't he? What a fall from grace. If he'd stayed with Kayla, they'd probably be married with a house by now. What a shame. One day, I happened to come across that same old forum post again. The user No Way Out Dad had left one final comment. I truly regret trying to take shortcuts in life. If I could go back in time, I would never have made those choices. I betrayed the woman who loved me for years, and in the end, I ruined myself too. If you're still following this thread, I hope you'll see this apology. The IP address showed, location, Myanmar.